I spent years experiencing symptoms that I never realized could be connected to perimenopause. And I really want you to know what I didn't know. I want you to pay attention to your own body, and I want you to get help from someone who actually specializes in this stuff. And that is what we're diving into today. Welcome to the Thrive with Intention Show, the podcast for women navigating the beautiful mess of midlife. I'm your host, Jody Phifer, certified midlife coach for women. Each week, you'll get real stories, practical tools, and mindset shifts to help you design your next chapter with confidence, clarity, and a little badass energy. Hit subscribe and let's do this. Hey friend, welcome to the show. I am 50 years old now, and for years, I genuinely started to feel like I was losing my mind and that I was just getting older. And I guess this is just what getting old feels like. And it sucked. It sucked really bad. For me, it started around age 42, 43. At first, the symptoms looked like what I kind of expected. I started having hot flashes and I had night sweats. And then constantly new things just started to get added to the list. And I had no clue that all the things I was experiencing could be connected. Just no idea, right? So before we even get into this, I just want to say very clearly, I am not a doctor. I am your friend. I am telling you what happened to me and what I have learned through my own experience, my own research, my own conversations with fellow midlife women, my friends and my clients. And I'm just sharing with you what I wish someone had told me. So please find someone who is actually qualified in perimenopause and menopause to help you figure out what you need. I'm here more to just share my experience and raise awareness, hopefully, and kind of point you in some directions where you can get help. So we're going to get into that as well. Okay, so let's just rewind about a year and a half ago. At that time, I was experiencing all kinds of things. Now, I had no idea, again, that these could even be symptoms of perimenopause. I didn't know what the heck was going on with me. But let me just run through the list of things that I was experiencing myself. I had headaches almost every single day. I had brain fog. And for me, what that looked like is there were things that I did for work, very routine, very repetitive things that I did every week or every month. And I have been doing these things for years and I have the process down. And I would sit down to do those things. And it's like I just noticed that I had to concentrate really hard. Like I really had to force myself to pay close attention to every step of the process to not mess it up, which was really weird. I was having memory issues. I couldn't remember conversations. I couldn't remember words. I was having a hard time focusing. I really started to wonder and worry if I was having like adult onset ADHD, or was this early dementia, which of course is terrifying to start thinking about, right? I also noticed that I just didn't have as much motivation and drive as I have had in the past. I felt exhausted no matter how much I slept. And I would wake up, and I'm talking wide awake, ladies, at like 2:00 in the morning or 4:00 in the morning. That's super fun. Doesn't help the sleep factor, right? And then I also was experiencing low libido and painful sex. So when we would have sex, it hurt bad. Not every single time, but enough that it was a deterrent, right? Which is a terrible combination. And I noticed that my skin was changing. So my face especially became really dry and almost scaly, like it was dragon skin. Well, I've never touched a dragon, but if I had, I'm pretty sure it would have felt like my face. And I was having body aches. So especially my neck and my shoulders would just be sore and achy and stiff. And this is not necessarily after a big workout or anything, just a normal day. That's what was happening. I also was having horrible gastrointestinal flare-ups, and I didn't know what was going on there. I thought, do I have ulcers? Like I was doing all the Google research trying to figure out what that was about. Do I have appendicitis? Like, what is this? Because I would have this pain in my gut. It would come up out of nowhere and it would take me out for the day. Like it was so painful. I would just have to lay down and I'd just be laying down all day, and nothing that I tried was helping. I was getting acid reflux, which I'd never had in my life. And then eventually I started getting irritable and just noticing I didn't have as much patience and just kind of seeing everything through a negative lens, kind of like permanent teenage level PMS, which is not fun. But I was not putting these things together. Now, again, this all started when I was about 42 years old. And so when I finally went and got some help, I was like halfway through 47. So we are talking years of this. And it's not like I woke up one morning and had all of this stuff happening. It was slow and gradual. And I think that's another reason why we don't tie it all together, because it just comes on gradually. You just have, oh, here's this new thing coming up now. Oh, here's this new thing. Oh, look, now we have this other thing added in. And it just feels like we're getting older. So where are you right now? How are you feeling? Are you having sleep issues? Is your skin weird? Do you have painful joints? Are you forgetting shit? Do you not want to have sex like at all? Is everybody getting on your last nerve? Now, listen, some of this stuff, it could be different problems, right? That is possible. But what if it isn't? What if it's all connected? So here's the thing. Nobody told me what perimenopause looked like at all. My doctor did not talk about it. My mother did not talk about it. My grandmother, my aunts, nobody in my life has ever really talked about this. It has been such a taboo topic that we just haven't discussed. And it has really left us unprepared, which is one of the reasons I want to talk about this so much. Because the truth is, I did not understand hormones. I had no idea when I should even start thinking about perimenopause. And I didn't even understand the difference between perimenopause and menopause. And thank God that is finally starting to change and we're finally starting to talk about it. And I am thrilled to be part of the conversation. So for me, my turning point was Oprah. Oh my goodness. Thank God for Oprah. Oprah, I'm sure you're not listening to this, but if you are, thank you. Heartfelt thank you. Oprah did a menopause special and she had several guests on the show. And one of the guests was Dr. Mary Claire Haver. And Dr. Mary Claire Haver talked about her book, The New Menopause. And I literally ordered the book right there as I was watching the show. And that was when everything started to change because I read her book and holy shit, it was so enlightening. I learned so much. And that's really when I realized, oh, this could all be connected. Like everything on this giant list of things I've been experiencing that makes me feel like I'm losing my mind and just turning into an old lady, turns out it might all just be perimenopause and it can be helped with hormone replacement therapy. And so I started looking into some things. Now, this is really interesting. Dr. Haver has said many times that she received 1 hour of menopause education in medical school. 1 hour, ladies, for something that half of the freaking population is going to experience. Isn't that insane? It is mind-blowing to me. And then it got a little better, but not much. She got an additional 6 hours of menopause lectures during 4 years of her OBGYN residency. So all in, she is an OBGYN specializing in women, and she had 7 hours of training in this? Like, what is happening? That for sure needs to change, right? So I had assumed that my doctor, my OBGYN, knew all about this stuff, right? And he could tell me when I needed those hormones, and he was going to know what was happening with my body. And guess what? He didn't. He didn't know. And he wasn't putting the pieces together either. Now, I loved my OBGYN. He was a fantastic doctor. But this system is not set up for us, ladies. It has not been set up for us. So it is so important that we think about our own health in this area and we do our own research, and you've got to know your own body. Because what I realize is that I just outsourced that. I relied on him completely. And I went to him every single year like a good girl. I went and got my little checkups done like we all do. So fun, right? I told him what was going on every year. And for me, the period part was a little different because I had had an ablation back in my late 30s. And so I didn't have periods anymore that were giving me any clue. which, by the way, is not necessarily something you rely on. You can have completely normal periods and be in perimenopause. So don't let that myth prevent you from looking into this. Okay. But for me, I didn't even have that. And I didn't know anything about hormone replacement therapy. It sounded a little scary. So if he said I didn't need them, I was like, okay, great. I guess we'll just treat this symptom. He would recommend I take a certain supplement. And every single time I went to him, he was recommending more supplements. Eventually, I was literally taking supplements by the handful in the morning and at night. And looking back at it, it was kind of ridiculous. And they weren't working, right? They just were not as effective. Just before this Oprah special came on, the timing of it was so beautiful because I went to the doctor. We did my lab work like usual, did my whole checkup. I had a laundry list of things that I was dealing with. And he looked at all of it and he said, well, you're just not there yet. And I tell you, in my head, I was like, are you sure? Because I sure do feel like I'm there. I'm somewhere. Something is happening. Like, what is going on with my body and my brain? And because I trusted him, I just accepted it and took some more supplements. And like I say, I just felt like, okay, I guess this is what it is to get old. And I guess this is just how it is now. And maybe I'm kind of losing my mind. And I tell you, nothing makes you feel worse about aging than feeling like you are falling apart. It sucks. That's terrible. I don't care about the number, but the way I feel really matters, right? So listen, this is important. This is not about trusting doctors. I am not saying your doctor's an idiot. Okay. I'm not saying that you shouldn't trust doctors. None of that. As I said, I loved this doctor. He was great, but you do need to find out whether the person you are trusting in this area of your life and in this season actually knows what you might need help with. That is important. And we understand this in every other part of medicine. You know, if you had a serious problem with your brain, you would not expect your general practitioner to take care of that for you. You would look for a brain surgeon. Different areas of medicine require different expertise. Perimenopause and menopause are no different. You may have a fantastic GP. You may have a fantastic OBGYN, but that does not mean that menopause is an area of expertise for them, and likely it isn't. So what things are you dismissing right now because someone told you that they're normal? And are you treating 5, 10 more separate symptoms without looking to see the whole picture and seeing if they might actually be connected? That is what I was doing. I certainly was. And I just didn't know what I didn't know. I'm not trying to diagnose myself, and you shouldn't either, but we can notice what's changing. We can keep track of it. We can learn enough to ask the right questions. We can speak up when something doesn't feel right, and we can decide when we need another opinion, and we can find someone with expertise in what we are experiencing. So I have put together a perimenopause toolkit for you, by the way, and I'm going to put that in the show notes. It is going to help you with this. It is going to be a place where you can get started. It is free, and I really want every woman on the planet to have it. And it's going to help you sit down and really look at what is happening. It's going to help you put everything on one page and give you some tips on what your next move should be and where you can find someone who is really qualified in this kind of work. One of the things that I did after getting Dr. Mary Claire's book was, I read it and it's not the most exciting read. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to put a link to it in the show notes. She actually has another book now out that's called The New Perimenopause. I have both of those. Highly recommend. But I'm not going to lie. It's not the most stimulating reading, but I do really think both of those books are excellent in just helping you understand what all symptoms can come from this, your changing hormones, and what all can be done about it. And also, she just made me feel better about the hormone replacement therapy as well, because there's been a lot of negative stuff in the press over the years about that. And the more you dig in, the more you find that it was all hogwash, basically, and that the tests were just done improperly, frankly. And we slapped a big label on something that should never have had the label of being dangerous for the masses. But in the book, she talks about how important it is to find someone who is trained in this specifically. And she had some resources in there. And one of the resources that she mentions in the book is MIDI Health. That's MIDI Health. And I scheduled an appointment with them immediately. Before I had my first appointment, I sat down and I just wrote out everything. I didn't try to decide what was connected and what wasn't. I literally just wrote down every weird or new thing that I had experienced over the previous decade. I thought, okay, I am finally talking to someone who is supposed to be trained in this, who is going to understand. And I just want to make absolutely sure I give her the whole picture and she can tell me what's connected and what isn't. So the beautiful thing about a MIDI appointment, first of all, is that it is virtual. So you don't have to go and sit in the waiting room. You don't have to go anywhere. I didn't even have to put pants on if I didn't want to. I probably did, but they were probably pajama pants. Let's be honest. And I got on my appointment. I felt so seen and I felt heard and I did not feel crazy. And she listened to everything and she asked a lot of questions and she answered my questions and we looked at every single thing I had going on as a whole. Now, I will tell you, now I am a MIDI Health ambassador. So what does that mean? Well, I'm not like an affiliate. It's not your typical affiliate relationship. I don't get a kickback when someone goes and makes an appointment or gets hormones through them or, I don't get free visits or anything like that. But I do get to be in the room when some of these really important conversations are happening. And I get access to a lot of experts that can give me great information that I can pass on to you guys, which is the best part about it. It's the reason I wanted to do it. But it's really important to note that I was a patient first. I had already been with MIDI for a year and a half. I believe so much in what they're doing. I think this kind of menopause movement that we're seeing right now is so overdue, and they are really kind of paving the way to get this information out into the public. And so they're providing like ongoing education around all these different topics for their ambassadors. And it just felt so aligned. So for me, it was just a no-brainer. And it's a new relationship with MIDI and I as an ambassador, but I'm loving every part of it so far. So one thing that I want to talk about is what my treatment looked like. I think it's important to note that it was not like she waved a wand and suddenly everything was better overnight. It didn't work that way, and it's probably not going to work like that for you either. We started a couple of things. We started very low dosage, and that is how they are trained to do it. And that's how we should do it because we don't want to be on a high dose of medication that we don't need, right? But we started low. We scheduled follow-ups very regularly, and we just talked each time about what's better, what isn't better, what's still, a problem. And we just started adjusting, and we watched and we talked again and we'd adjust again. And eventually we found the overall formula that is working really well for me. So just because I know some of you will want to know, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm using, but I do want to be clear, like what I'm using does not tell you what you should use. The whole reason that you should work with someone is so they can get to know you, and your body is different from my body and it's different from my friend's body and all of that. And so we all need slightly different stuff or slightly different dosages and all that good stuff. But here's what I'm on. So I am now on estradiol gel. And I'm on a gel rather than a patch because we have a hot tub. I get in it all the time, like daily. And my clinician had some concerns about heat affecting the absorption through the patch. So she thought the gel would work better. And it's been great for me. I'm on progesterone as well that I take every night. The last thing we added was a testosterone cream. I am also on a vaginal estradiol insert, and that was to help with vaginal dryness and painful sex, which by the way is like gone. Yay. And then I also ended up getting 2 things for my face. So my scaly skin. So I have a compounded face cream that actually has estriol in it. I don't know if that's how you say it. I don't know how to say most of this stuff. So y'all forgive me if I mispronounce things. And then I have a tretinoin. Again, don't know if I'm saying that right. That is like a prescription retinol cream. And I use the estrogen one in the morning and the retinol one at night. Okay, so what has changed for me? Like how much of a difference am I seeing? Hot flashes and night sweats were the first thing to go. They were essentially gone within about 2 weeks. And I was only on a couple of things at that time, very low dosage. I started sleeping through the night again. My brain fog and the focus got dramatically better. I don't feel like I have ADHD anymore, and I don't feel like I'm on my way to dementia. So that's great. Now, I do still forget words sometimes, and I do still forget sometimes that we had conversations because we're not, it's not all magical, right? But it is definitely better. My motivation and my drive came back. That has been lovely. And just the negative lens that I was seeing everything through has definitely lifted. I'm not nearly as irritable. I've got some patience back for the people in my life, which we all appreciate. The GI flare-ups that I was having are completely gone. Acid reflux, completely gone. Painful sex, gone. And just overall, like I feel like myself again. I don't feel perfect, right? Of course, I am still getting older. We do that. But the difference has been life changing. Like I can't say that enough. I am not exaggerating here. It has been life changing. And I'm not taking freaking supplements by the handfuls anymore either. I have a couple of supplements that I take, but it's very reasonable now. And the truth is, I did not realize how bad it had gotten until it got so much better. And I cannot believe how many years I suffered with all of these different things unnecessarily. And I do not want you or any other woman to ever have to deal with that. Okay, so here's what I'm going to ask you to do for yourself. Get yourself informed. Go read Dr. Mary Claire Haver's book. She's got a podcast. Go listen to that. Ask questions. Make an appointment with someone who has actually been trained in this stuff. Now, I highly recommend MIDI because I've had such a great experience. I love the telehealth. It's so convenient. And for me, it was covered by my insurance. If you go to their website, you can add your insurance information and it will tell you right away if you're covered or not. And the thing is, you don't have to use MIDI, right? Like, I don't care. I've had a good experience with them. But just find someone who knows perimenopause and menopause. The Menopause Society also has a searchable Find a Menopause Practitioner directory on their website. So you have options. Just find someone qualified that you trust. And let me just tell you, perimenopause can show up in your mid-30s, ladies. So this is not about being old. This is not just an old lady thing you have to deal with. Symptoms can start in your mid-30s and certainly early 40s. So I kind of want to shake people if they are in their mid-40s or higher and they're having all kind of random symptoms and they don't know what's going on and they won't look at perimenopause and menopause and they won't consider hormone replacement therapy, because I'm telling you, it can be so life-changing and there's just no reason not to do it. In fact, there's a lot of reasons to do it earlier rather than later, which we will get into in another episode. I'm going to get deeper into that. And actually, I'm going to put some of that information in the toolkit for you because it's so important. So grab the toolkit. Please grab the toolkit. Sit down and think about the last few years and just write down everything that has changed. I am trying to put all the possible symptoms in this toolkit for you. So there is like a symptom tracker that you're going to be able to fill out. Just mark off, yep, I got that. Yep, that's happening. Yep, that's really bad. That's okay. That's not bad. I don't have that. Whatever, whole list of things. And then I'm going to include in there the basic information to help you understand what's happening. I'm going to give you some information on hormones specifically, kind of what they can do, what they can't do, why it's important to look at it earlier rather than later. And then you can use that tracker before your first appointment, and you can use it before your second and your third and your fourth and so on. So you can really see what has improved and what's still there and if there's anything new that's popping up. And that's really going to help you and your clinician. You're not going to have to remember on the fly when you're talking to them, because I don't know about you, but I can never do that. I'm like, oh, I got these 2 things when in reality I had like 20 things, right? So if something feels off, maybe a lot of some things, don't dismiss it. Don't just accept it. Pay attention. Get curious. Write it down. Learn and talk about it, for God's sakes. Please talk about it with the women in your life who are in this same season. Let's get this information out into the world. Talk about it with your daughters, your nieces, your sisters. Share this episode with them. Let's get this information out to the women who need it. All right. Download your perimenopause toolkit. Go get it in the show notes. You don't need to figure it all out today, but this is going to help you get started. And one more time, I'm not a doctor. This is your body and your experience. And what you need may look very different from what I need, but find someone qualified to help you figure it out. All right, y'all. That's all I've got for today. Go be fabulous. Hey there. I know a lot of things are changing right now. Your body, your hormones, your relationships, your kids are growing up, your parents are getting older, maybe your career is shifting too. It's hard to know where to start. That's exactly why I created my free Shift Happens quiz. It'll help you cut through the noise and figure out which area of your life deserves your attention first. Just head to thrivewithintention.com/quiz or click the link in the show notes.